So obviously, being a person that has supported the University of Alabama for years, I'm an Alabama fan. Tua is a guy that I've been watching since he was in high school, back when he was in St. Louis, back in Honolulu. I've been watching him ever since then. I've watched his journey. I've seen him take his strides, his steps, all the way to Alabama for his 3 years. And obviously, he's a phenomenal person, phenomenal human being, great family, and a quarterback that had a lot of potential, a lot of tools, and a guy that was coming into this year was expected to be, well, not into this year, but expected during the 2020 season to kind of be the Justin Herbert, what Justin Herbert was for the season. Of course, Justin Herbert was phenomenal, right? He had over 4,000 yards. He was top 10 in completion percentage. He was top 10 in almost every single stat that you could potentially think of from a quarterback. And that's honestly what Dolphins fans wanted. They wanted a Justin Herbert because Justin Herbert was on a bad team on the Chargers. Imagine if Justin Herbert was playing on the Miami Dolphins and he had the same type of development he had with the Chargers. And from a Dolphins fan perspective, you can just think if you had Justin Herbert on your team, you're thinking to yourself, hey, we might have actually maybe reached where the Bills were, and that's maybe go to a conference championship, or maybe go, or maybe even further. You just never know in those particular areas. But obviously, Dolphins fans at this point, if they can trade Tua for Herbert, they would do it in a heartbeat. It's actually kind of weird how that goes, right? Herbert coming out of college was supposed to be the trash quarterback. He was supposed to be the guy, maybe the Josh Allen, as a guy that's probably gonna take maybe a couple years before he can finally grow and maybe be a quarterback. And that's if you can develop him the right way. And now Justin Herbert coming out of college ended up being the guy. While Tua looks like a guy that he needs some time in order for him to develop and be that way. It sucks that you got Tua in the fifth with the fifth overall pick, and especially that he's probably going to have to be the guy that you're going to have to kind of let him develop, maybe let him take some time and get to be that person. But if you really think about it, that's the majority of quarterbacks that are in the NFL. That's the majority of rookie quarterbacks that are coming in the NFL. And especially when it comes to a guy like Tua that's coming off of a damn near career-ending type of injury with his hip socket pretty much being broke. People didn't even expect him to play. People that really expect him to take kind of a medical red shirt and for him to kind of go into maybe 2021 as probably going to be a guy that might be ready. People just thought, hey, Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to take over this year. The Dolphins are not even going to get this much. They're probably going to go maybe 5-11, 6-10, or 7-9. Tua's going to come in next year. He's going to be the guy. But Brian Flores made Tua the guy earlier on, and at that point, Brian Flores didn't even stick with them. He kept switching. It was a back and forth type of thing with Ryan Fitzpatrick, and it was not good for the team. Clearly, the players were pissed off. Clearly, they believed that Fitzpatrick should have been the guy. Flores, I don't know. I don't know what his coaching staff thought, but clearly Flores, I don't know. He didn't even know what the hell to do, and it ended up costing the Dolphins. It ended up costing them a playoff spot. Now, in my opinion, once you brought Tua in, that's it. Tua's the guy, and he should be the guy going forward. And you take the growing pains when the growing pains come on, I guess, right? You'll take some positives, but there's going to be a lot of negatives, and you saw that for Tua, right? You also saw that Tua wasn't really comfortable in this Chan-Gailey offense. You can just tell Tua wasn't that much confident in his progressions. He wasn't that confident of the receiver's route running ability. The chemistry, you can tell he had some chemistry with some players, but then a majority of the other players like Devontae Parker, the chemistry was off between some of the other receivers. Tua just did not look as comfortable as we saw with Alabama. Now, again, that could be a testament to how good Alabama players are. Alabama potentially could have 4 first-round receivers and 3 or 4 first-round offensive linemen by the time the 2021 draft is over. And I'm just talking about a collection what we saw from Tua's career. Tua's played with a lot of first-rounders. He's played with a lot of talent, but his confidence, his chemistry, and his chemistry with those players also played into a huge factor of why they got drafted and to why Tua got successful. So I feel like one of the things that the Miami Dolphins have to do is that with Brian Flores, first of all, you got to find the right offensive coordinator, which obviously they did hire a new offensive coordinator. They have to make sure that guy fits Tua, because Tua's the guy. He's the man. He's their franchise quarterback. you have to kind of figure out, what's comfortable for Tua, right? What tendencies do we need to fix? What are some tendencies that we can try to improve on? Do we need to get better? Well, of course. What type of playmakers do we need to get in the NFL draft or maybe in the offseason? Do we need some more help on the offensive line? Do we need more of a running game? What type of offensive approach do we need to get the best out of Tua? Because at the end of the day, not everyone's going to come out and be like a Justin Herbert. Not everyone's going to come out and be like a Deshaun Watson. Not everyone's going to come out and be an Andrew Luck in his first year. Not everyone's going to be one of those guys. And people kind of expect the same thing for Trevor Lawrence. But with Trevor Lawrence going to the Jacksonville Jaguars, it's rare to see first year quarterbacks be that successful, to have that type of year that Justin Herbert had. It's very rare, right? Even Peyton Manning, when he came out of college, when he came out of Tennessee and he was the first overall pick, Peyton Manning had a decent rookie year, but for a decent rookie year, it was 20 touchdowns to 29 interceptions. So yes, Tua had 11 touchdowns. He had five interceptions. He has 64% completion percentage. He cost the Dolphins the playoff game. But at the end of the day, let's not sit here and say that all the blame should be on Tua. Because let's be honest, Devontae Parker had, he was riddled with injuries. He just wasn't healthy this year. You can just clearly tell he wasn't healthy this year. Your only receiving option was in the tight end slot with Mike Gesicki. Your other receivers were pretty much non-existent. They just weren't there. So I feel like they need more playmakers on the outside. You need some playmakers in the slot. I feel like they need to stop ignoring the ground game and start to really focus on trying to find a true number one running back. Maybe getting some more offensive line help to try to protect Tua can definitely help. The overall synopsis is that you need more for your guy. And taking a look at my team, the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen coming out in the NFL draft, you knew what you had in Josh Allen. You had a kid with an amount of a tremendous upside, crazy potential, but you needed to surround Josh Allen with playmakers in order for him to become better. Trust me, I fell into the boat where, if Josh Allen didn't show anything for year 3, I wanted him gone. Because year 2, I saw the potential, but I felt like maybe the coaching staff wasn't bringing it out of it, or maybe it was just him. And I was a little more impatient with Josh Allen. So I get it. But when you actually surround Josh Allen with playmakers like Stephon Diggs, with pairing him up with John Brown, which you got after Josh Allen's rookie year with Cole Beasley in the slot, Josh Allen was an MVP candidate. I'm not saying Tua is going to end up being an MVP candidate, but still, some guys just need help. And then let's also take into consideration, Justin Herbert had Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and he had Hunter Henry. Not to mention that he had Austin Eckler coming out of the backfield as one of the best receiving running backs, if not maybe not the best, but I would say definitely top 3 receiving backs in the NFL. Not to mention that he had a pretty good offensive coordinator. He had a really, really good offensive coordinator. So let's give credit to, even though Anthony Lynn is fired, let's give credit to Anthony Lynn. Let's give credit to the Chargers offensive coordinator. Let's give credit to the playmakers that were surrounding Herbert, because at the end of the day, Herbert had help on the outside. Herbert had help on the ground game. The offensive line wasn't the best, clearly wasn't the best, but compared to what the Dolphins had, are we really going to put all the blame on Tua? Are we really going to criticize him that much? Was he Joe Burrow? No. Was he Justin Herbert? No. But he wasn't terrible. And I understand it's the 5th overall pick, but it's his rookie year. It's not like this is his second or his third or maybe his 4th year in the league. This was his rookie year coming off of a potential career-ending injury. Let's give Tua time. You're coming off a team that's 10-6 with a lot of talent coming back, and you also have a top 5 pick in the NFL draft. You can end up getting Jamar Chase or Penei Sewell on the offensive line, or Devontae Smith, the Heisman Trophy winner. But if the Dolphins end up drafting another quarterback and trade Tua away, that's pretty sad, because it's not Tua's fault. That's on coaching. And even though Brian Flores did a tremendous job with the Miami Dolphins, that's really on coaching. You started a quarterback that came off of a career type of ending injury that you knew was going to affect his physical abilities. You kept switching him, him and out with Ryan Fitzpatrick, which just disrupted the synergy and the chemistry between the team. And now, because of your fuck up, you're gonna trade him away. That's just sad to me. And if it can happen to Tua, then it can very well happen to the next guy that you're gonna draft, whether if it's Trey Lance or Justin Fields. So that's just one thing to keep in mind, Dolphins fans. That's just one thing to keep in mind.